Hi YouTube, Brian here. Just wanted to show you guys a little bit about potting up the Begonia Rex cuttings that we did before. So here you can see the tray. I think I used this one as the sample for the last video on Begonia leaf cuttings. This was a tray that I did just a couple weeks before that, so I'm going to say this one's probably been about 6 weeks or so since I took the leaf cuttings and put them in. You can see the last video on instructions for that. So we now have some nice little plants attached onto these leaves. This lovely pale green with the dark edge, almost black. This is a lovely silver and black one when it gets bigger. I don't like to leave these too terribly long at this stage in the propagation trays. I find that they're easier in the trays to dry out by mistake, not get enough fertilizer into them as they're just starting as little plants here. So as soon as I can, once they've got some nice leaves and a few roots on them, I like to get them out of the propagation trays and just into little pots where I can deal with them more appropriately in the greenhouse. So what we'll do is pick one. I like to just try and dig in underneath to gently pry it up, but still keep most of those roots intact. And what I'll do, you can see here, this is the leaf at the bottom that we used as our cutting. I'll take that and gently pull it away from what's left. You can even just pinch it off at the base here. And I'm left with getting rid of the old leaf, which honestly at the shape it's in, I could probably do more cuttings with it, but we'll set that aside. I now have a nice little plant, a few mid-sized leaves and a bunch of tiny leaves. I could divide this down a little more at the base because it has a bunch of little plantlets sort of all attached as one, but I'm going to treat it all just as one plant for now. With a tiny plant like this, I'm just going to start it in a 2.5-inch plastic pot. Put a little bit of soil in the bottom. Again, this is a sort of peat and compost mix, equal parts of those and about half as much to a quarter as much of the either volcanic pumice or perlite or both. Could have a little bit of fine bark in it as well. Sort of an African violet type soil tends to work fairly well for most of these tropical houseplants. So I'll just gently put the plants there, fanning their roots out the best I can. Gently top off with some soil. Now again, we don't want to push too hard, just gently touching sort of around the edges just to firm the soil in ever so slightly. It's enough that the plant's nice and stable, it's not going to fall out. That's all we need to do. And then give it a nice drink, get some water through it to help settle everything in and make sure those roots stay hydrated. There's another one here. This one might be a little harder to see, it's an almost black leafed one. And give it a gentle pull. You can see, look at the root system that's already made for just those tiny little plants. So that's going to be something that'll do well once it's potted up. It's got lots of nice roots. These want to break away. In this case, they're still a little on the small side. They're maybe a little smaller than I would normally want to pot up. So I'm going to pot them up all as one clump, and I'm going to leave the leaf with them this time, just because they're a little bit too tiny to be on their own. Just put a little soil in, gently fill around. And over time, probably in the next month or so, I can just go in and carefully break that leaf away and leave the plant established as it was. But, as I say, having them potted up versus in the trays, they tend to do a little bit better. You tend to be able to get a little more food into them and have them grow a little faster. So there, that's all finished up. I'll finish off the rest of the tray. Hopefully that was helpful. Take care.